What's up, my beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of See It Through My Eyes channel. I'm your host, Richie, here with Jesus,
Hi.
Ian,
Yep.
and me. And today we're going to be doing a unique video where we're going to be talking about a topic that seems to never go away, which is body image, and just how obsessed our society seems to be. And what I kind of want to do is a comparison. So I picked out two videos. We're only going to be reacting to half of them because it's a pretty lengthy videos. We're going to be adding into the description both the names and the videos so you guys can check them out. Check out the channel, show them some love. Make sure to check out the entirety of the videos. And if you haven't already, I ask you guys to please make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Share this video, add in the comment what you guys believe. So for the first video that we are going to be reacting to, it is called "The Race to Be the Skinniest," in quotations, is back. ... And we're all dying to win. ... And this is from the channel Salem Tovar. So check it out. Right after that, I'm going to be playing the next video. So Jesus, sit up and let's get right into it.
It is the battle of the skinniest out there right now. And for some reason, it feels like everyone is losing.
Why do all of these celebrities look sick?
And the only way to win is who can look the most emaciated the fastest. It feels like right now, every it girl online, your favorite influencer, your favorite artist, your favorite actress, your favorite musician, is practically disappearing right before our eyeballs. It's gotten so bad that it's no longer about beauty standards. Not even looking healthy is the goal anymore. It's all about who can look the smallest. Smaller waist, smaller legs, smaller dress, smaller appetite. At this point, smaller presence.
We need to talk about women's bodies because if we don't, they're going to die.
And the most insane part out of all of this is that everyone's acting as if they don't see it, or at least you're not allowed to talk about it.
They are emaciated. I mean, we knew it was bad, but it is so bad.
We have entered an era on social media and unfortunately the real world. That's how you know it's getting bad, by the way, when it enters the real world, where the word healthy is deemed as an insult. You look like you give great hugs. Do flowers bloom where you walk, queen? Or someone who just looks like they actually ate today gets comments that are like, this is how a healthy body looks like, by the way. And they're being used not as compliments, but as warnings. TikTok is flooded with skinny motivation, what I eat in a days that consist of basically nothing. So many random brands are coming out with their own GLPs, and now fast food places have their own GLP Ozempic friendly menus. Celebrities such as Tate McRae and Zara Larsson are being deemed as too big. Everyone is noticing these dramatic changes, but the internet is still quietly treating this as something that we shouldn't talk about, and it's starting to cross into something way darker. This has gone past the glorification of being thin. At this point, it is the glorification of slowly withering away. Hello everybody, it is me, Salem, and welcome back to my commentary Chanel, where I talk about all things pop culture, all things problematic, and all things like this.
Guys, I thought we were all about that base. I thought every inch of me was perfect from the bottom to the top.
I feel like I have talked about this topic a good amount of times in different realms and parts of the internet. I've talked about, skinny talk and that weird cult that was happening where that one influencer charged people like $40,000 to join her secret group chat where people were in competitive, like disordered eating. That was really weird. I've also talked about how body positivity was completely killed by Gen Z and these new trends. But in every single one of those videos, I talked more so about what we're collectively observing and what we can do to stop it before it gets way worse. But unfortunately, we are now in the post era of seeing the symptoms real time of blindly feeding into those trends, going against body positivity, even famous influencers who, benefited from the body positivity movement, also losing weight and everything. The whole Y2K heroin chic skinniness being back. Literally everyone and their grandma and their mamas, every commentary YouTuber was talking about this. Basically, the signs of if we keep feeding this and if this keeps becoming a thing, this is gonna happen. And now it's happening.
It's just so, why is that okay now? Why is everyone getting bone skinny again? Why is this so normalized? I hate it.
And this is the normalization of basically looking practically emaciated. It's no longer about buccal fat. It's straight up just visual symptoms of someone becoming emaciated, such as wasted temporals, sternums being shown on red carpets, and even the news of the glorification of people looking really, really thin. I hate to say that I told y'all this was gonna happen, but unfortunately, I told y'all.
How y'all doing?
And in a weird way, it's gotten worse than ever. Recently, the Met Gala happened, which first of all, I forgot to do my yearly Met Gala review. I didn't talk about it this year because I'm not gonna lie, the Met Gala has been flopping for years now. The only person who ate that up was Emma Chamberlain, but it seems like no one else ate. I don't know if that will get me canceled. Usually every year, people obsess over the outfits, the makeup, the artistry that comes with the Met Gala, and or the flops that come with the Met Gala. I'm not gonna say who, but we're all thinking it. But this time around, this year, the conversation was mostly surrounding the people who were wearing the Met Gala looks.
By far, the worst look being served at the Met Gala was osteoporosis.
People talking about celebrities' looks is nothing new. I mean, it's been like that since the dawn of time, since when cavemen also drew their own bodies on like cave walls. I just know there was caveman beef. Maybe one caveman that was like, I don't look like that. You better erase that cave wall and redraw me, girl. Like me if I was in the prehistoric era, or what is it called? Pre-dino era? Anyways, but this time around, it wasn't about like people being actively body shamed or being told that they need to lose weight or like whatever. It was more so this collective shock of seeing our favorite it girlies and favorite artists and musicians not looking like themselves, or at least like the FNAF withered versions of themselves.
That's going to be the next epidemic led by GLP-1s. Y'all look saggy and you look sick.
We all noticed. It's uncomfortable to notice. We want to talk about it, and people did talk about it, but it seems like we're also in a collective agreement of we don't know how to talk about this because it's so much more nuanced than people think. It's a really weird cultural movement that we're trapped in right now, where visible thinness gets socially rewarded immediately without us having proper discussion surrounding why it's happening.
I just wanted to address your concerns about my body and talk a little bit about what it means to be a person with a body.
All right, so the next channel that we're going to be reacting this video to, so we're going to give our commentary right after this one because I kind of want to compare something from both videos that there's a correlation there. You guys will see it. So this channel is called Big Craig, and the video is called How Ozempic Destroyed, in quotations, Fat Acceptance, and closing quotations. We are not the one saying that. That's this channel. Make sure to check out the entirety of the video, but let's get started.
For over a decade, fat acceptance influencers and celebrities have sold us all the same lie. They've told us that being fat doesn't necessarily mean that you're unhealthy and that being big is beautiful. They've said no matter what your body size, you should love yourself. Fat acceptance exploded in popularity, with many plus-size influencers building entire careers on this exact message. However, the same influencers who built entire platforms around radical self-acceptance started losing weight. And after the weight loss, the confessions started coming out, with many revealing that they were never happy in their bigger bodies. For the followers who found comfort and support in these creators' messages, this was a total gut punch and a complete contradiction of what they were saying. What came next was social media outrage, with mass unfollowings, rants posted to TikTok and Instagram, calling out celebrities and influencers for their hypocrisy. But before we dive into exactly what happened, we first need to understand how the body positivity movement, or more specifically the fat activist movement, came to be, and what its advocates stood for. And while many people think that the fat acceptance movement came as an offshoot of body positivity, it's actually the other way around. It started with NAFA, the National Association to Advance Fat Acceptance Movement, which I've actually covered quite a lot on my channel, saying as many other My 600 Pound Life patients were a part of the group at one point. And if you know my channel, you'll know that I've covered a lot of My 600 Pound Life. Now, the fat acceptance movement started out focusing on discrimination against fat people, and they were fighting to end weight-based discrimination, separate weight from health, and challenge diet culture. And in the 2010s, the movement became more mainstream to include all bodies, things like different skin tones, scars, and physical disabilities. And you'd think that would be a good thing, but many fat acceptance activists were extremely critical of the takeover, claiming that the struggles of fat people were being sidelined. But it was hard to feel sympathetic for this community when they post things like this.
Of course you want to post your before and after photo. Many see it as a notable accomplishment. So of course you're posting about your weight loss. It makes sense, right? And I don't blame you. I think that wanting to be part of this thinness club is something that society is pushing us all into. And then it turns to be that maybe one of the reasons that you post this is to inspire other fat people to lose weight. But then that's where you lose me, because I thought this whole process was for you. I don't know what the point of posting it is. We can see it. We see you have gotten into a smaller body now. What ends up happening and what you're showcasing is that you went from being the oppressed to being the oppressor. And you're okay with that.
People in the fat acceptance community regularly belittle other people for losing weight. Like this creator saying that someone else got into a smaller body. Like it didn't take months of hard work and sacrifice to do. Weight loss is a huge achievement. It's hard, it takes time, and you need to stick to a diet plan pretty much every day. But the idea of weight loss is so controversial in the fat acceptance community that they actively protest against it, saying that the effects of yo-yo dieting are even worse than just being obese.
Diet and weight loss talk is sensitive for good reason. Like 1 in 4 or 5 people end up with an eating disorder. Most people, I think 90 to 98% of people will gain all the weight back and then some. And that diet cycling can result in worse health outcomes than just staying fat in the first place. Also, if you have an eating disorder and you're fat, trying to get any treatment for that is hell.
To me, watching videos like this just shows that people are not educated enough when it comes to how to lose weight and how to keep it off too. Yo-yo diets are always going to fail because there's no way you can do a juice cleanse or keto for the rest of your life. Any conversations around weight are also extremely triggering for people in the fat acceptance space, so they actively advocate to not talk about it. But when their favourite plus size influencer loses weight and talks about their journey, fans demand an explanation. But because this can be triggering to hear, this same creator suggests getting therapy to work through it, which is just absolutely insane.
And when that one safe space is no longer safe, it can activate a lot of pain and trauma. Again, if you are fat and you're feeling that pain, it's not appropriate to share with that person. If you're feeling this way, I really hope you talk to people, a therapist or friends, supportive people in your life to process these feelings, because it's valid and it's important.
I can't understand why these people get so offended over what other people choose to do with their bodies. Getting therapy because someone you followed lost weight is absolutely insane and just shows how much the community relies on these other plus size influencers to validate their own feelings. One of the most prevalent creators in the fat acceptance space is JBay, a content creator who wants to share her message that she shouldn't have to change, but the world should accommodate to her. I've done a couple of videos on JBay covering her downfall and another one on the body cam footage of her arrest, and I'll link those that you can watch at the end, but make sure you stick around for the rest of the video. Now, JBay often takes a movement way too far and causes a lot of outrage on her social media posts.
Things that plus-size travelers hate. When the tray table can't come down, worrying about asking for a seatbelt extender, having little to no room to move, narrow aisles and bulkhead seats, tiny airplane bathrooms, worrying you're going to break the toilet, getting pat down because you're fat, tiny airport chairs with armrests.
Now this might seem like rage bait, but to the fat acceptance community, it's actually very serious. All of these complaints that JBay raises in her video are things that the community are actively fighting for, as they think that fat people should just be accommodated for no matter their size.
Fat liberation, activism, and advocacy. This is where I knew I had to be. I've learned so much on this journey, and now I use my experiences as a fat person to help others navigate the same obstacles to live their best, most empowered lives. Whether it's travel, healthcare, or just day-to-day life, I'm here to break down those barriers that exist for fat people. I'm here to challenge the world to make space for us, for fat people, just like everybody else.
The fat acceptance community spent decades fighting to exist without a pressure to be thin and to be unapologetically fat without wanting to change. But when the movement's most prominent voices began to disappear into smaller bodies, the community's followers found themselves wondering whether the acceptance they had been sold was ever really meant to last. Now, enter Ozempic, the infamous GLP-1 drug. And if you've never heard of GLP-1s or don't know how they work, I'll give you a quick rundown. Basically, the drug was initially developed to treat type 2 diabetes, but doctors noticed one significant side effect, which was weight loss. Whether it's Ozempic, Mounjaro, Saxenda, or Rybelsus, they all work relatively the same way. They mimic a hormone in your body that naturally releases when you eat, which is called GLP-1, hence the name. This hormone signals to your brain that you're full, slows down how quickly your stomach empties, and regulates your blood sugar, which all sounds pretty good to me. It essentially tells your brain that you're still full for much longer than you would be, so you can eat less without feeling starving. GLP-1 literally changed the weight loss game forever, because you no longer have to rely on sheer willpower to resist your cravings. You can simply inject yourself once a week and watch the scale drop. Hollywood celebrities and influencers alike are quick to try the drug and seemingly shrink overnight. And it seems like the big curves and massive bum of the Kardashian era is over. With the rise of GLP-1s, a new era has begun, what some people are calling heroin chic. As the obsession with the drug grew, the body positivity movement has seemingly shrunk. Now, just quickly, I don't agree with heroin chic, and I do think Ozempic and other weight loss drugs are overall a pretty good thing for obese people. However, as we'll come to see, more and more average people and celebrities are using it when they really don't need to and getting to dangerously low body weights.
All right, so those are the two videos. Make sure to check out both the channels and the videos. We've only done a couple minutes of both channels. So first, what are your takes on both videos? Who wants to go first?
I think that it's cool how you showed us two videos that link together, but talk about the opposite sides of both disorders. I call it disorders because, you know, when people go bigger or go skinnier, there's always a period of, I'm doing the right thing for myself, and I'm not going to let anyone tell me, and I'm actually really, really happy with what I'm doing. As someone who went through an eating disorder when they were little, it can be a very scary thing too, because it's like we don't know why we're eating, or in some cases why we're not eating as much. Sometimes it could be emotional, sometimes it could be like, oh, you know, you don't really like the way you look, and that goes for both ways. You know, I think it's really interesting, like seeing the shift in real time. Obviously it all gets affected by many things. I think one of the contributors, not to say that this is like all the main thing that's causing it, but you see all these people getting like BBLs, right? And getting tummy tucks and getting skinny, but well, like, you know, not really, you know, through hard work. And I think that influences people. Like a lot of like the beauty standards now too, they've especially, again, as we see, started shifting in like both ways. As someone who has siblings who are into K-pop, I see those idols and I see how, I don't know if malnourished is the right word I'd use there, but definitely not eating as much as they should. It's concerning. And as someone who is a bit bigger, right, I think that either way you go, you're going to unfortunately end up at the extreme of both ends.
That's true.
Which is not the best either way. I think that with everything, there should be moderation. And if you are finding yourself not particularly liking yourself at the moment, please do yourself the favor and try to get out of the space if you're feeling that way. If you're like around people that tell you, you know, oh, you're fat, you know, or you're too skinny, don't listen or leave them alone. You know, get out of that space because it's not good. Now, what do you guys think?
I got quite a bit of stuff, but Ian, go first, and then I'll do mine, and then we'll kind of. Well, actually, no, we'll just do this part. But yeah, go ahead, Ian.
Well, definitely want to start with kind of some of the echoes of what you said, Jesus, where it's just, I think a contributing factor definitely is like, you know, the definitions of beauty and stuff like that, definitely akin to it, like, because this craze of skinniness is actually not nothing new. That was actually here a couple, like, you know, many decades ago, where, you know, there was, you know, particularly the women trying to be super skinny and stuff like that because they saw like models and they was trying to do that, but then a shift curved, but then the concept of curves did come up, where then people's like, just being, skinny and all of that wasn't enough. They wanted someone with curves. I remember, Mr. Sir Mix-a-Lot was talking about how his baby got back. And, that started shifting some of the ideas, like, okay, well then maybe they should have some more, plumping and all of that, like mass to it. But then it turned yet again, because then, the idea of just, they didn't want to be too skinny, and then they didn't want to be too like fat or whatnot. So then introduced the concept of thickness and like, just having, what I would consider like a petite frame, where it's like, it's obvious, that, you're still getting the nourishment, but it's not on the level of like, just being completely obese, but at the same time, you're not also starving yourself neither. But then even that got twisted, because then, like you said, Jesus, a lot of them truly weren't really thick. On the genuine end, what they were doing was getting BBLs, tummy tucks, breast augmentations, they're making or even doing like injections and getting, introducing their systems to different, like medications and things like that. The point is, their bodies started changing because they made decisions to kind of make these changes by force rather than, kind of the natural end of it. And our culture, especially when social media started going crazy and the idea of filters and photos and all of that stuff came up, people ate it. People ate that a lot, where it's just like, this is what real thickness looks like, even if it was built off of lies, like even if it was just built off of, they had surgery, they got this, they got that. And then it turned, and it sounds to me like it's turning once again. Because I mean, in some cases, I've kept my ear to the ground a bit, and I've heard that, people's been having issues with like the idea that like the BBLs, there's like there's an odor that comes like from it, and just some of these changes that were made to the body, because they were not natural, it started making unnatural effects to these people. And so it sounds like now that they're shifting to like, as skinny as possible, to the point where, like, as scary as it is, like we're seeing bones and stuff. And so I'm laying all of this out as a foundation, where it's just, I know that that's definitely a problem, where it's just, I know that the view of what is socially, like social acceptance and stuff, it continues to swing back and forth like a pendulum. And unfortunately, people think that they can land on one side or the other, but they haven't really drawn a conclusion. And then my statement on that is this: you have to, and it's nothing new. Acceptance has to come from the inside first. Identity is found on the inside out. I know that it's just cliche and stuff like that, but I am getting concerned. Like I'll be on the record, like I was like I'm a fan of Ariana Grande, like I love her music and stuff like that. But there's no denying, I am concerned about her. I'm concerned about her just as I was during that time Demi Lovato was having her little struggle with her eating disorder, and that was akin to like her being bullied and stuff like that. Like I'm getting concerned in these places, because like the video is saying, the media is trying to play this off as, oh, they're fine and you can't say anything. But you see, like my social media, they tried to flood photos of like these celebrities and stuff. And then it's sad, because I'm like, either A, these are older photos where when they were like, they're not the way that they are now. These are not taken in real time. These are old photos, and it don't match to the person that is actually in front of us, like in the camera. And so I can't stress it enough, where it's just identity and all of that has to be rooted on the inside first. Because this world's definition of beauty and stuff like that is always just going to be forever changing. Skinny is a problem. Being thick is a problem. Being fat is a problem. And if you're just looking from the outside, trying to be like, I got to get that acceptance, you're never going to land somewhere. You're always going to find yourself, I got to turn this, tweak that. And in the end, you're going to lose you. It's just, it's going to be a hard pill to swallow. Bodies come in different frames. And some people, they have one particular frame that is different than others. It doesn't make them more and it doesn't make them less. But we have to get to a point where we have to accept these bodies that we have been given. And, you know, if there's changes that we can make, let us make them because that's what we want, not because that's what TikTok, Instagram, and even the people on the street, or even these whispers that come from our heads and our insecurities are saying.
So the reason why I picked both videos, as you guys can tell, both videos are talking specifically about women. We are not. But there's a couple points that I picked these two videos for obvious reasons. Both of them are examples of what's happening and what has happened to the extreme side of both. The more thinner side as well as the more heavier side. So for me, I've always been on the thinner side. Right now I've gained a little bit of weight, but I did struggle for a couple years with a couple pounds compared to, you know, like my BMI and everything like that. And I struggled because, you know, I had more health issues at the time. I was 15 pounds overweight. And I've always been in pretty good shape, at least when it comes to like being active. But throughout my entire life, I've always been underweight, like especially like my younger years. And the doctors, family, everybody would always point out like, oh, you know, you need to eat more, you need to eat more, you need to eat more. And it would get to me. But the distinction that I want to make that I have observed, comparing like men and women's struggles when it comes to body image, especially being receiving the ridicule by society, women have it way worse.
Yep.
I showed both these videos to my girl. She's on the more fit side, but has some curves to her. And she, I was showing her both videos. She pointed out a couple things. One of them, like I know that the song Meghan Trainor, All About That Bass. I remember when that came out, and she, when she first heard it, she says that she was happy that women, more bigger women were getting that acceptance, and that all that. But there was the line of, where she attacked skinny girls, skinny bitches, as she put it. And she was like, I don't understand that. Like, why does it always have to be like one side attacking the other side? Why, if it's supposed to be, body acceptance, then it should be applied for anybody and everybody. And that's one thing that she pointed out. But I also bring my girlfriend up because when we were watching the video, I told her, I was like, do these women think that all men look at them like, oh my God, look at, like a lot of guys, we like girls with some meat on their bones. And as politely as she corrected me, she's like, the thing that a lot of men don't understand, we women, like her being a woman, like women don't do it all the time, at least for other men.
Nope.
They do it for other women. It's that acceptance by other women. And it's a little bit hard, I think, for us guys to understand it. I think the best is like if you're like scrawny versus like chubby or bigger size versus being, like more muscular or just toned. But I feel like, yeah, you get shit from it. But if you see or you have ever been around those type of women who just murder each other verbally about each other's weight and figure and all that, it's harsh. And it doesn't make sense to like me. I don't think it makes sense to you guys either, for us guys, because again, it's not for us. It's this acceptance that a lot of the time is also pushed by men and like these fashion companies and all that. A lot of gay men for some weird reason, I'm just saying. But a lot of guys who also shame women. The minute that a woman, put on some few pounds or anything or even loses weight, immediately we start shaming women.
It's weird to me because now after doing some research on who decided these trends, especially like in the 1990s and in the early 2000s, it was a lot of older men. A lot of older men decided the trends that we took on today, the skinny teenager, the skinny woman adult, the bigger adult, and I find it crazy that we're still sticking to those ideas.
And unfortunately, it's never going to change. And
So they say that it is.
well, it changes. It just goes from one extreme to the other. And real quick, I want to finish what I was going to say. Like, to me, to why I brought this up, I'm all for body acceptance. I'm all for accepting people for how they look. I mean, we shouldn't be so focused on other people. We should be focused on how the fuck we look, right? But let's go with accepting other people and respecting other people's body image, right? But I think to a certain degree, this is why I chose both videos. You see how dangerous it could be when it goes from acceptance to enabling.
Yep.
Because back a couple years ago, when the more bigger way, I don't know how to put it, acceptance, right? I'm not gonna use what the guy was saying, how he phrased it. But when that acceptance was happening, there were many cases of people that were very obese, and it was like encouraged for them to continue on a lifestyle that a lot of the time they ended up losing their lives for.
It was dangerous.
And for this situation, the other way, where women are using medicine that is not meant for them, when they're already in good shape, to lose weight. And what you were saying, Ian, too, about Ariana, that's something that we were talking off air. When you have their fans, we get it. You guys are fans. And you care about her. You care about all these actresses. And there's people out there, there's always trolls, right? There's always going to be trolls attacking them. But there's also a lot of people who also don't want something bad to happen to them. And we're calling it out because, no, don't give me that, I'm the healthiest I've ever been. Girl, you do not look healthy.
And in the moment that you say something, then there's just people just taking it as an attack, which does reveal to me real quick how this is just a world that really does not like that sense of like accountability. Accountability, really. Because accountability isn't just about, being responsible for your actions, but also it's like if you see things that are off, and they might not be in a position to like really, what was the concept of an accountability partner, where it's like, if I'm struggling, if there's a struggle or something, and I'm not, like, I'm in my own way where I can't see it, then I would think you would be the one to kind of help, point that out, like, hey, I just don't think this is right. And it's getting sad that we can't even have that. It's not even just the sake of accountability from just like what you do, but also just accountability partnership. We can't even have that because people just think it's going to be an attack and it's going to be an attack. And real quick, I did want to bring in what you said about what happened with Meghan Trainor. Well, yes, when that, all about that bass song. And it was like trying to revolutionize, like, yeah, you could be more plus size, but still be sexy and still this and that. It really did something right up until she started then shaming, skinny girls. It got me thinking about another artist who did something, not on the same lens of skinny girls, but X Factor, Lizzo. Because she doomed herself too. She was, once again, one of them, plus size, and she was out there, rapping, really showing how she's just about the community, only to find out that she would be abusing her own, like, by background, vocal, like people and stuff like that, shaming the girls about their weight and everything. Just a complete monster. But in the front end, we're supposed to be saying, well, we're about like body positivity, it's about damn time, it's just, it's just a real, just, day and night kind of thing. And that's where I am just very, very concerned with, unfortunately. And I just got to speak really to the ladies here. I know that there's guys who do get influenced by like celebrities and stuff like that, but because this is kind of about like, body image, and I know, like you said, women kind of struggle with this more. As men, we do have our struggles with it, but the thing about us as men, because we're just different than you females, we get to a point where this is our bodies and we'll keep it pushing. But I know that with like females, there is that struggle of validation, particularly across the aisle from peer to peer sometimes. And to be honest, somewhere in there, it might be that you need to review exactly who you're friends with. But my statement was going to be, you need to be very careful with, again, these people that you're looking to. These ones that's like, oh yeah, she promotes this and she promotes that. Because just because anybody can promote a thing, but that doesn't mean they actually live by that promotion. A promotion code is one thing, but then actually having like a code of honor behind that is something totally different. That's where I know Lizzo went wrong. And it did cause backlash. And even to this day, there's still levels of accountability that has yet to be made. But there's no denying that there was people who really did get impacted. They really was like, if she can do it, so can I. And so when her real colors got shown, they were disappointed. And so if it is going to be a change about body image and stuff, you need to be very careful who it is that you're observing. And it's got to, if you're going to be making these changes and stuff, make sure that it is something that you want to do. I agree with you completely, dude. Ozempic was really for type 2 diabetes. So when you're using medications that has nothing to do with what you actually have, but you just want the benefit of like, well, it promotes weight loss, you're putting like, is it, I don't know if it's going to be putting your, because I don't want to put your information out there that you're like on insulin. But it's just, but it's like, what if, like, if it was a like effect of that to like, you know, in a crazy example, it helps with, you know, reducing blindness or something. And then I inject that even though I don't have, you know, what you're going on. I'm literally introducing my body to something, a condition that I might not even have. And that is dangerous.
Jesus, you were going to say something earlier?
I was just going to say that I understand that, you know, this may relate to women. Men do go through this as well.
Mm-hmm.
There, obviously, I see the jokes sometimes on TikTok where it's like, oh, there's the skinny best friend, but then there's her other best friend who's bigger. And it's like, it's demonizing the big best friend. And it's like, guys, come on now. Like, that's not nice.
There's always been jokes on both ends. Like, if you're the skinny, but there is no denying when you're heavier, you get the worst part.
Yeah, it's true.
There, you know, me and Ian, we've been called toothpicks. We've been called a lot of things that had nothing to do with our weight. But we've been called a lot of things.
Yeah.
I just want to end the episode with this. I think it's important to a certain degree. Body image, body acceptance, your confidence, your self-worth, and your health. All of that is important, but we need to stop mixing all of that in together. Because if you're doing something for your own health, that's okay. But that should be the most important thing. You were kind of touching on it earlier, Jesus. And this is something that I've always pushed. If you think by changing the exterior, you're going to fix something that's in the interior,
nope.
You're never going to be satisfied or fulfilled, whatever you're looking for. Because if you're seeking people's validation, do you not see what happens online? And I can say don't do it, but a lot of the time when we're in going through that struggle, even though we know it's not bad, in a way we kind of think that we deserve that, right? And we put ourselves in those type of environments. I pray for y'all, like seriously, for anybody who's either struggling with overweight or anybody who's struggling with underweight. I care about you guys as humans. Like, regardless of what you look like, that doesn't fucking matter. At the end of the day, we're all gonna die, big or small. We're all gonna fucking end up in the same fucking piece of earth, all right? Well, but you know, we're all gonna die, right? So you gotta care more about your health, and especially for younger people, younger women. You know, I'm sorry. I don't know how else to put it. I'm so sorry that this world seems to never be satisfied.
It never will be, though.
And that's it. And that's the point. It never will be.
It's going to, like, the trend is going to change. It's going to be something else. It's going to be, they want this particular weight, or they're going to want this particular style hair or stuff. And it's just the marketing companies, because even Jesus, you touched on that a little bit too, like the freaking fashion people and these makeup artists and all these companies that be promoting all of this stuff in front of, you know, our faces on a daily basis. They're geared to try to make you believe that if you get this, then you'll achieve whatever it is that on the inside, you know, is like that you feel I don't have it yet. But then that you can get that product, but then there's going to be another one that's going to have the same tagline, just probably a different type of product, and so on and so forth. Your wallet is going to just keep getting drained, and you're going to get drained as a person with all of these stuff and accessories and all that. But in the end, whatever that missing piece on the inside, it still isn't there.
You deserve happiness, regardless of what you look like. You deserve happiness, and that's what you gotta believe. And you have to be careful, like what Jesus said at the beginning. You got to be careful with the people you surround yourself with. And that goes for both people you know and the people you don't know.
Yes.
Because even your friends and family can sometimes be the ones right there, teasing you and making you feel worse than you already do. Yeah. And you can't, to a certain degree, you can't really choose your family or your friends, right? But you, at least what you take in, at least mentally.
And definitely that online audience, I can't stress that enough.
Shut them out, man.
I'm about to say, the algorithm does not represent real friendship. These people follow because they want to, but then when stuff hit the fan, they won't be there.
They don't care about health, man. They don't care about health because we just sit around just, trolling and talking shit on the internet. And yeah, they're not I wouldn't really be taking their opinions about what looks healthy, pretty, or anything. Let's turn the camera on them. But anyways, with that being said, make sure to check out both channels, check out both videos. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Share this video with people that need to start opening up their eyes about what's going on, being more aware. Guys, let's show some more compassion, acceptance. All that is great. We gotta love each other for who we are, as cheesy as that sounds. Add in the comment section. Let's keep it respectfully, guys. Yeah, I'm Richie, here with Jesus and Ian. Guys, you got anything before we end?
No.
Take care, y'all. We'll be praying for you guys. God bless.
Bye.
See ya.